What is up, my TickleMe crew? This is Chad here, and today I'm bringing you guys another interesting Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. And my opponent for this battle was Sienna, or you guys might know her as Alex Sprites' girlfriend. So this battle had a lot of really interesting moments. Had a lot of hacks, a lot of stupid moments, but it was fun nonetheless, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So Sienna is bringing the Aurorus, Delphox, Clawitzer, Florges, Noivern, and the Aegislash. Now, I'm obviously afraid of the Aegislash. Aegislash is Ubers, but it's fine. I'm also afraid of the Florges and the Clawitzer. They can be a little bit of a problem. Noivern, eh. But looking at my team, I'm bringing a very low tier team. I'm bringing the Sandslash, Clefairy, Pikachu, Dunsparce, Meganium, and the Qwilfish. So I definitely have a challenge on my hands, especially with that Aegislash. So the battle begins, and Sienna decides to lead off with her Aegislash, while I decide to lead off with my Sandslash. Now obviously I have the type advantage here, so I'm going to go for the super effective Earthquake. As Sienna decides that she does not want to take the super effective Earthquake, she's going to switch out into her Clawitzer. Now Clawitzer is going to take this Earthquake, and it's going to do about half. So the second turn, I swore I thought I was going to outspeed this thing and take it out with another Earthquake, but somehow this Clawitzer outspeeds my Sandslash and takes me out with a Surf. Now this next turn is where things get extra weird, because her Clawitzer outspeeds my Pikachu. How the hell does a Clawitzer outspeed a Pikachu? This Pikachu was max, it was Timid Nature max speed. I don't know how this Clawitzer outsped. And then my Meganium comes in and outspeeds this Clawitzer, so like, I don't understand, like, how does that happen? She's not Choice Scarfed, as you guys can see, she switched moves. And she's also not Quick Claw. So, I don't understand how it outsped my Pikachu, but not my Meganium. Pikachu far outspeeds Meganium, so I'm not sure how in the world that happened. But anyway, on this following turn, I do get the Leech Seed up, and I take out the Clawitzer, her magical Clawitzer that can outspeed a Pikachu apparently, but not a Meganium. I take it out with a Giga Drain, and I get a lot of HP back. So this next turn, she's going to go into her Delphox. So obviously, my Grass type does not want to take a Fire type move, so I'm going to switch out into Miss Puff. And I actually forgot that Delphox was part Psychic. So on the following turn, she's going to go for the Flamethrower, and on the following turn, I'm actually going to switch out because I don't want to take the Psychic type move. How I forgot that Delphox was a Psychic type, I don't know. But I'm going to switch out into my Special Defense Wall, Clefairy. And so she's going to go for the Grass Knot, which was an interesting choice. It's not going to do much damage at all to my Clefairy. So she's going to switch out. She's actually going to make a really great play. And she's going to go into her Aegislash as I set up the Cosmic Power. So I literally cannot touch this Aegislash with any of my moves. So I'm obviously going to have to switch out because I don't want to take any Steel type moves from this Aegislash. So I'm going to go back into my Meganium, and I'm going to try to set up the Leech Seed to whittle away its HP, and pray that this Aegislash is not leftovers. But unfortunately, as you guys are going to see, this Aegislash does have leftovers, and that's going to really suck for me. So I do get my Leech Seed up. She goes for the Sacred Sword that turn. This next turn she goes for Iron Head. It does way too much damage to me, so obviously I don't want to stay in because another Iron Head is going to take out my Meganium, and I really need my Meganium for later in the battle because it is really bulky and it walls a lot of her team. So I'm going to have to switch out. I believe I go back into my Qwilfish. And I go into Qwilfish here because it's my defensive wall, and it resists all of Aegislash's moves. So this Iron Head's not going to do much damage at all. She's going to have to switch out. So as she switches out, I'm going to take the opportunity to set up my first layer of Spikes, which is really going to help me out this battle. As you guys will see the battle progress, this Aegislash is obviously not going to want to take Spikes damage for very much longer. So I'm going to get a little bit of Black Sludge and Leech Seed recovery. So she's going to decide to switch, as I said, as I get up my layer of Spikes. She goes into Noivern, which is pretty good Pretty good counter to my Quillfish, because Quillfish is defensively bulky, not specially defensive, and Noivern is a special attacker, so I'm going to have to switch out. I do decide to go back into Clefairy, my special defense wall, because I know I can take any hit this Noivern wants to do. She actually misses her first Hurricane there, and she decides to switch out and go back into the Aegislash. So here we are again, back to square one. Obviously I can't do anything to this Aegislash. I was trying to Toxic the Noivern there, but obviously since Aegislash is a Steel type, I can't Toxic it. So since I can't touch the Aegislash, we have to switch out again. So I switch out back into Miss Puff, the Quillfish, because again I could wall this Aegislash all day long with Quillfish. And she's going to switch out again, or actually this turn she's going to go for another Iron Head, I believe. And again, as it has been doing, it's not been doing much damage. So the next turn she's going to want to switch out again. So you guys are seeing a lot of repeats here. So as she switches out, I'm going to get my second layer of spikes up, which is great for me. I'm sitting really pretty at this point. So she decides she's going to go back into Noivern, and I bet you guys can't guess what's going to happen next. If you guys think I'm going to switch out, you are definitely correct. I do not want to stay in with my Quillfish. So I'm going to go back into my Clefairy, and she's going to go for a Hurricane. Now she actually finally hits her Hurricane, and it does a decent chunk of damage actually. I'm kind of surprised. Now because I switched and because Noivern is faster than my Clefairy, she actually hits me twice, and unfortunately she gets the Confusion on the second Hurricane. But luckily for me, I do break through Confusion, and I get my Soft Boiled off to raise my HP back up to a reasonable amount. Now, she makes a really weird play here. She goes for Fly as I go for Toxic. I've never seen Fly on a Noivern, because Noivern doesn't really have the greatest attack stat in the world. So I stayed in with Clefairy because I knew that I wouldn't take much damage from the Fly. I do get my Poison off finally, which is great for me, because now we can slowly whittle away at this Noivern's HP, which is what I want. So she is going to stay in and go for the Hurricane, and as you guys saw, I broke out of my Confusion, but she gets Confusion hacks again. So now I'm confused, and unfortunately this time I do hit myself in Confusion. So this next turn she's going to go for the safe Boom Burst, just so that she doesn't miss the Hurricane. And that is going to take out my Clefairy, which really sucks for me because I definitely do not want to lose my special wall this early. That really hurt me a lot in this battle. So I decided to bring in Funsparce the Dunsparce, and I named it Funsparce just because it's a really troll set. It's one of those Paraflinch sets. So I start setting up the coil. She actually misses her Hurricane there, so she's gotten really unlucky this battle as far as trying to hit me with her attacks. So I'm sorry for that, Sienna. So she's going to go for the Draco Meteor, and she misses again. So I'm going to set up another coil. So I'm at +2 attacks, +2 defense, and +2 accuracy. So you won't see me missing any attacks. But so the Toxic is starting to really rack up damage. She actually finally lands a Draco Meteor, but really it doesn't do that much damage. This Dunsparce is max HP, max special defense, so it doesn't really do that much damage as I set up a third coil here, and the Toxic is going to take out the Noivern. Now, I believe that she goes into her Aegislash when the Noivern dies. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. And unfortunately for me, just like Clefairy, my Dunsparce cannot touch Aegislash to save its life. It has no attacks that can touch it. Dunsparce's only attacking move is Headbutt, I believe. So she's going to attack me with a Sacred Sword. It is super effective, but luckily I am bulky enough to live it with 9 HP. I get my glare off, and this glare right here was extremely crucial. As you guys will see later in the battle, I get some insanely lucky hacks on Sienna. I'm so sorry, Sienna, but those hacks really helped me out. So this next turn, she does not get the para hacks. I'm going to go for the Roost, and I believe she goes for another Sacred Sword, and unfortunately that is going to be enough to take out my Dunsparce. So Dunsparce really didn't get to do much. this battle. She gets a crit there. I'm not sure if that crit mattered. I want to say it did not matter, just because Aegislash is so strong and Dunsparce's defense isn't that great. Even with the coils up, it's not that great. So here I just go into Littlefoot, and I'm just going to try to get Leech Seed on this Aegislash. She goes for the Shadow Sneak, and it really doesn't do that much damage, which I'm kind of surprised. I guess Meganium's just that bulky. So I get my Leech Seed up. So I'm going to get Leftovers and Leech Seed Recovery, which is nice. I believe this next turn I go for the Giga Drain, I want to say. And I'm pretty sure she switches at some point here. So there's my Leech Seed and my Leftovers, getting some nice HP recovery. Okay, yeah, she does decide to switch. She goes into her Aurorus. I almost said Delphox there. So she goes into her Aurorus, and it's not going to want to take the Spikes and Giga Drain. So Giga Drain actually does a ton of damage, and which is interesting. This Meganium I don't think has any EVs in special attack, but it was a super effective hit, so, you know, obviously. So I'm going to switch out. I don't want to take the Ice-type move. I'm going to switch into Miss Puff, and she's actually going to make an interesting play here. She goes for the Hyper Beam, and right here I was thinking I was actually going to lose Miss Puff, but I forgot that Aurorus has the ability, I want to say it's called like Refrigerate or something. It turns any normal type moves into ice type moves, which Qwilfish actually resists. So I actually live that Hyper Beam, and Hyper Beam has like 150 base power, and Qwilfish's special defense isn't that great, so I'm actually really surprised it did that little. But I'm going to set up my third layer of spikes there. I'm going to decide to switch back into Littlefoot as she goes for the Freeze Dry. Now, had she gone for Freeze Dry on the Qwilfish, that actually might have taken out my Qwilfish. Because if you guys don't know, Freeze Dry is the only ice type move that hits super effective damage on water types. So I'm going to get this Giga Drain off. It is going to take out the Aurorus, so I don't have to worry about this thing anymore. I'm going to get a decent chunk of HP back. And I believe this next turn she decides to go into the Delphox. And I'm just getting some Leftovers recovery back. So I'm back into the green at least. She does decide to go into the Delphox. I think right here I play a little risky. And I actually stay in because I wanted to see if I could live a Flamethrower, and I do. So I Dragon Tail this Delphox. Basically what I'm doing right here is I'm just trying to get as much Spikes damage on her entire team as I possibly can, especially this Aegislash, because Aegislash is a huge problem to my team, and with Aegislash with Leftovers, it really sucks for me that my Leech Seed can't really do much to whittle its HP down. So right here, this is where the hacks begin. She actually gets paralyzed, which allows me to get my Leech Seed up. She probably would have killed me right there, had she gotten the attack off. So this next turn, guess what? She goes for the Shadow Sneak, which has priority, so that's why she moves first, even though she's paralyzed. And Aegislash is slow anyway, so she does go for the priority move. She gets paralyzed again. So that's 2 para-hacks in a row. So I'm going to go for Giga Drain. It actually does a surprising amount of damage. I do get a crit there. In the long run, I want to say that crit mattered, just because I really needed this Aegislash in red health. So I guess you guys probably can't tell what happens next. She gets para-hacks for a 3rd time in a row. I'm so sorry, Sienna. The hacks were real in this battle. But as you can see right there, there's the 3rd para-hacks in a row. I'm going to get off the Giga Drain, and that is going to finally silence the Aegislash. So this thing is no longer a threat to my team. Thank God. Thank you to Funsparce for his ultimate sacrifice, getting the glare up on that Aegislash. That is what ultimately won me the battle. So she's going to go into Delphox, and as I saw before, I can actually take a Flamethrower from this thing. So I'm going to take the Flamethrower not very well. But I'm going to go for Dragon Tail again, which is going to put Delphox in a range where if she brings Delphox in again, it's going to die. So basically her only usable Pokemon left is this Florges. Now Florges is a huge threat because Florges basically all it likes to do is Wish Stall you. So I'm going to set up the Leech Seed on Florges as she goes for the Wish. And she actually used Wish really early. I didn't get that much damage off on her, but I believe this next turn I go for the Giga Drain just to get a little bit of HP back. You know, couple that with the Leech Seed and the leftovers. I'm getting a decent chunk of HP back. I need my Meganium up as high as I can get, basically, to have any chance of winning this battle at this point, because Florges basically walls the rest of my Pokemon. My last two Pokemon at this point are Meganium and the Quillfish. So obviously I need both of my Pokemon at as high of a range as possible. So right here I decide that I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to go into my Quillfish. And had I not switched, this Florges could have stalled me out and she probably would have won the battle. So right here I go into Mrs. Puff, and I'm going to get obviously my Black Sludge and the Leech Seed recovery, as she actually goes for Calm Mind right here, which is interesting. But I do have a special surprise for her Florges. I actually run Haze on my Quillfish just to get rid of any stat changes. So she is actually not going to be able to set up on my team at all, because the Haze is obviously going to get rid of any stat changes. So there goes her Calm Mind. That was a wasted turn. She's going to go for Wish again, and I believe this turn I go for the Waterfall. And so I was really surprised at how much damage that this Waterfall did, because this Quillfish actually has no attack EVs. I believe this Quillfish is like max HP, max defense. So watch this. Here goes the Waterfall. It brings it down to the red. That is crazy. But she does have the Rocky Helmet on her Florges, and that's going to really suck because that's going to whittle away my HP even faster. So unfortunately here she gets the Wish, and she hits me with a Moon Blast or whatever. I'm going to get my recovery back from leftovers, or not leftovers, Black Sludge and the Leech Seed. I'm going to go for another Waterfall. Right here I was just kind of praying for the flinch. That would have been really great, but unfortunately I do not get the flinch. And the combination of oh my god, I almost said whore. The combination of her Rocky Helmet and her Petal Dance is going to take me out, and that's a really interesting move. Petal Dance on a Florges. I don't know about that. But right here I go for the Giga Drain on the Florges, praying it's going to take it out because Florges has a monstrous special defense stat. And thank God the Florges dies. Her last Pokemon is the Delphox, but as I said earlier, it's not usable because as soon as she brings in the Delphox, these spikes are going to take it out. So good game, Sienna. That was an insane battle. The hacks were real in this battle. I'm so sorry you got so many bad hacks against you. But, I mean, hey, usually it's me that gets all the hacks, but thank you for the battle, Sienna. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, favorite, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Toodles.